China expands orbital surveillance and military space power in 2026 to counter the U.S. Commentary. China is accelerating its space program in 2026 with record launch rates, massive mega-constellation deployments, and specialized surveillance satellites, signaling a deliberate push to expand military space capabilities and challenge U.S. dominance in orbit. China opened its 2026 space mission schedule on January 13 with 2 orbital missions, marking the start of an ambitious campaign that could set a new launch record. Relying on military-civil fusion, Beijing is projected to conduct more than 70 state launches and potentially exceed 100 total launches when commercial rockets are included, a sharp acceleration from the 92 launches carried out in 2025. Mega-constellations are a central pillar of the 2026 plan. The Guowang constellation is expected to deploy roughly 310 satellites, while Qianfan is projected to launch approximately 324. Together, the 2 mega-constellations alone account for an estimated 634 satellites planned for launch in 2026, more than double the roughly 300 satellites China deployed in 2025. The first mission saw a Long March 6A rocket launch from Taiyuan, carrying the Yaogan 50 satellite into a highly retrograde orbit with a 142-degree inclination. While Chinese authorities described the satellite's role in civilian terms such as land surveys, crop estimation, and disaster monitoring, Yaogan spacecraft are widely understood to support military reconnaissance missions, including radar, optical imaging, and signals intelligence. The 142-degree retrograde orbit is significant because it reflects a deliberate operational choice that carries substantial costs. Launching against Earth's rotation requires additional velocity and fuel, yet Beijing selected this orbit to gain enhanced surveillance advantages. The inclination enables faster ground track coverage and repeated access to mid-latitude regions between roughly 52 degrees north and south, including most of the continental United States, major U.S. military installations in Japan, South Korea, and Guam, as well as critical Pacific Sea lanes. This frequent revisit capability enables sustained monitoring of bases, carrier strike group transit routes, and logistics hubs, allowing tracking of movements rather than merely observing fixed facilities. The use of a highly retrograde orbit also suggests the satellite employs synthetic aperture radar for all-weather, day and night imaging. SAR can image the ground through clouds, smoke, and darkness, unlike optical sensors that require clear weather and daylight. Highly retrograde orbits pair well with SAR because they allow frequent revisits from different angles, making them well-suited for continuous military monitoring rather than occasional imagery collection. Combined with the Yaogan series' known dual-use nature, this orbital profile suggests the satellite is optimized for persistent surveillance of U.S. military activity in the Pacific and potentially over the continental United States. Although China publicly frames Yaogan satellites as civilian assets, many are believed to carry military-grade sensors supporting reconnaissance, targeting, and signals intelligence. In a Taiwan contingency, frequent revisit coverage would help China track and potentially disrupt U.S. force movements by supporting missile targeting, maritime domain awareness, and early warning through near-continuous updates rather than isolated snapshots. About an hour after the Long March 6A was launched on January 13, a Long March 8A rocket launched from the Hainan Commercial Space Launch Site, deploying 9 satellites for the Guowang Low Earth Orbit mega-constellation. Guowang is China's state-led response to Starlink and is believed to support communications, navigation, remote sensing, and space situational awareness. Launching from Hainan signals a shift from legacy military spaceports to commercial infrastructure built for frequent, high-density launches. Optimized for aggregated payloads, the Long March 8A provides the lift capacity needed for mega-constellation missions and supports China's move toward reusable launch vehicles following the December 2025 debut of the Long March 12. Guowang carries significant national security implications for the United States. Its lack of transparency has fueled assessments that it includes dual-use or national security payloads, drawing comparisons to SpaceX's classified Starshield program. China's civil-military integration strategy suggests Guowang could be routinely used for military purposes or rapidly mobilized to support People's Liberation Army operations in a crisis. As a state-run broadband mega-constellation, it provides a sovereign alternative to Starlink, enabling resilient PLA command and control while reducing the U.S. ability to disrupt Chinese military access to satellite services. A viable low Earth orbit satellite internet capability would strengthen PLA communications by improving speed, coverage, and redundancy, particularly for air and naval forces operating beyond the first island chain. Guowan's multi-tier design also enables integration with terrestrial 5G and future 6G networks, reinforcing network resilience and centralized state control consistent with China's informatized warfare doctrine. Strategic control of a global LEO broadband constellation would enhance China's ability to provide satellite services at home and abroad while expanding Beijing's influence over data flows and partner nations. Reduced reliance on U.S.-controlled space infrastructure, including GPS, could erode U.S. leverage with key partners and complicate coalition military coordination. Despite China's expanding space capabilities, the United States retains key advantages in innovation, resilience, and commercial integration. The U.S. Space Force's Race to Resilience strategy is fielding proliferated constellations that spread risk across hundreds of smaller satellites, improving survivability in contested environments. In late 2025, the Space Development Agency awarded $3.5 billion for 72 tracking layer satellites to provide global missile warning beginning in 2029. The United States also benefits from unmatched launch capacity and strong public-private partnerships. SpaceX conducted 165 orbital launches in 2025, more than the rest of the world combined, giving the United States rapid and flexible access to space. Most of those launches used reusable Falcon 9 rockets, reducing costs, shortening turnaround times, and allowing higher launch frequency. By contrast, China still relies primarily on expendable Long March rockets and is only beginning to test reusability through its state-run system. Beyond launch volume, the quality and responsiveness of U.S. capabilities provide an advantage. SpaceX launches larger, more capable satellites per mission and can respond within days if required, while China's state-controlled launch architecture is slower and more bureaucratic. The upcoming Starship vehicle, now in testing, is expected to deliver payload capacity far beyond anything currently available to China, potentially replacing multiple launches with a single mission. These advantages are reinforced by institutional support. In 2026, the Pentagon's Commercial Augmentation Space Reserve will expand to provide wartime access to commercial satellite networks, and NASA's Starlink mission has already demonstrated autonomous satellite coordination using Starlink. Studies indicate that proliferated U.S. constellations strain China's finite anti-satellite inventories, though maintaining this edge will require sustained investment, realistic training, and strong allied space partnerships.